Salutations, my Fallout lovers. It is Matty here today with something a little different. Today we're going to be preparing our characters for Fallout 4's upcoming DLC, Far Harbor, and there's a lot of new stuff coming in, so I figured I'd make a little preparation video on suggestions on what weapons, perks, and materials you should collect before moving on to Far Harbor. So if you're looking to kill some time before this DLC or something to do, maybe you can get your character ready in the right way. So starting off is a little bit of an advisory that maybe you should get past the part in the main story called Getting a Clue. This is after you meet Nick Valentine in the vault, and you have to go ahead to Kellogg's house and check out what's going on there. I won't spoil anything other than that, but make sure you get through that quest, and I'm really suggesting that mainly if you're building a brand new character that you want to use for Far Harbor, then make sure you get through this part in the main story mode. Now I'm going to suggest some certain perks that I think will make your travels in Far Harbor a lot easier. Now these are not requirements whatsoever, and you actually may already have some. Also, I'm imagining when I'm listing off some of the perks that you should maybe look into investing in, that you have some of the essentials like a gun nut or a blacksmith. The first two perks I want to suggest are Wasteland Whisperer and Animal Friend. The reason I'm suggesting these kind of perks right away is because when I was going through Automatron personally, and I played on a higher difficulty, I noticed that a lot of the dungeons were very tough in comparison to ones in the vanilla Fallout 4 game. And what helped me out a lot was having the Robotics Expert perk, which allowed me to pacify robots that were of a lower level than me. And I thought that given that there's going to be new creatures and new animals that look incredibly deadly in Far Harbor, that perhaps these type of pacification perks would actually be quite useful for your character. Since we're also going to be encountering new enemies in Far Harbor, I figured that maybe suggesting the Awareness Perk would be a good investment for players. It's a one rank only perk, so once you invest in it, you are done. And there's no specific characteristics when you're analyzing the person in VATS, but you can get a feel for what their weakness is. This is mainly for the new mutants we're going to be encountering, because we have fought the Children of Adam before, we have fought synths before, we have fought humans before, but this is going to be new mutants, and you may want to figure out what exactly their weaknesses are to some degree, and awareness can help you in that regard. Since we're going to be fighting synths yet again, I figured that the Refractor perk would actually be quite useful for you guys as well. This ups your energy resistance, and on top of that, there's tons and tons of water in Far Harbor naturally, and in Fallout 4 in general, and one of the most helpful perks is the Aqua Boy or Aqua Girl perk. The first rank is good enough, that's all you need to be able to explore underwater without having any rads. And having this perk will make exploration a lot easier for you, will allow you to consume resources at a much slower rate, and who knows, maybe you can find something cool out there. The last perk combo I wanted to suggest was the Rad Resistant and Ghoulish perks, because Rad Resistance does exactly what it sounds like. You resist radiation a lot more. But the Ghoulish perk allows radiation to regenerate your health, so now you can kind of go through radiation and just gain health at this point. And I figured this might be a good trade-off because Far Harbor seems particularly radiated, especially since the Children of Adam have begun living there. Now those are some perks I wanted to suggest to you guys, but I also wanted to recommend some legendary weapons and armor, because I know a lot of us who have put time into Fallout 4 just have a stash of legendary weapons and armor sitting there, and we're thinking of ways to use them creatively, and I think you can mix and match some of these legendary effects to your advantage when you go to explore Far Harbor. There's three effects that I wanted to point out, and those are the Exterminator, Ghoul Slayer, and Hunter legendary effect. And this goes for both armor and weapons. So Exterminator gives you additional damage / protection from Mirelurks and extra bugs, and I think this is going to be the most useful one of the bunch. Next is Ghoul Slayer, which is quite obvious as that gives you additional damage and protection from ghouls, and then Hunter is additional damage or protection against animals. Obviously, you're going to want to use armor that allows you to resist radiation on top of that, so if you properly mix and match your legendary weapons and armor, I think you guys will be good to go. Also, make sure to favorite a couple of legendary weapons that allow you to do specific additional damage bonuses against certain enemy groups, especially when exploring Far Harbor. The last suggestion I wanted to make, which is quite an obvious one, it's a staple in Fallout 4, but collect absolutely everything before moving on to Far Harbor. While you're doing all this stuff, if you're leveling up your character a little bit, make sure you take whatever you can, because you're going to be moving into brand new settlements in Far Harbor, and you may have a creative idea. There may be new mechanics in Far Harbor that you guys can tinker with, and you may not be able to access them as much as you would like to because you don't have the proper amount of resources. So while you're leveling up or exploring the world looking for legendary weapons, make sure to collect anything you possibly can that you think would help you in moving into a brand new settlement in Fallout 4. But those are some of my personal suggestions on how you should prepare for Far Harbor. If you guys found any of this information useful, be sure to subscribe. As always, sound off in the comments with your feedback on how to improve in this Far Harbor experience so that everyone can go out there and just kill it. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. The links are always in the description. Check out SugarBomb.com, the place by Bethesda fans for Bethesda fans. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.